Okay, good evening class. Just checking on the logistics. Am I audible to everybody? Okay. So everybody might have received the question sheet today. I sent it well in advance. So continuing to the data interpretation classes. So I had one class on data interpretation through which actually if we talk about data interpretation and basically talk about the type of questions, there are broadly three categories in which they will come in. One is in the pie chart form, second is in the bar chart form or line graph chart form, or third is the number type of thing. Means a lot of numbers will be given. So lot of numbers will be given and you need to actually find out something out of that. You need to calculate or a lot of calculation is involved. So these are three broad categories. There might be a lot of other categories as well, but these all others will classify into these three. So last time we took few sets and we tried to solve some of the questions in pie chart and bar graph format. So today I've taken few of the sets, basically three sets of one of each category. So we'll try to solve some of the questions. There are around 14 questions today I've prepared, but let's see how much time permits. So depending upon that, I'll try to solve the questions. But basically I want to solve first set and the last set. There are three sets. So first set and the last set. The middle set we can see if time permits we can solve, otherwise we can let go that, and you can see those things in my answer sheet. You can refer to that. Okay, without much ado we'll start now. So let's go with the question number 1 to 5. So we have question number 1 to 5. What has been written? So a low cost airline connects 10 Indian cities A to J. The table below gives the distance between the pair of airports and the corresponding prices charged by the company. Travel is permitted only from a departure airport to an arrival airport. The customer do not travel by a route where they have to stop at more than 2 intermediate airports. It's similar to what we experience in everyday life. We depart from one airport, we go to other airport, and when there is a connecting flight, we have to, suppose we have to go from Bangalore to Lucknow. So from Bangalore we will go to Mumbai, Mumbai to Delhi, Delhi to Lucknow, or Bangalore to Lucknow directly. So depending upon the type of aircraft we have. So similar data has been actually provided in this table. And what has been given is the distance between the airports and the price that has been charged. Okay, so there are 30 rows for this. So now there is a lot of data here which need to be looked at. So what is been given? From departure airport A to arrival airport B, the distance is 560 and the price is 670. Similarly, from A to F, the distance is 1345 and the price is 1700. Okay, now let's go to the questions. What is the lowest price in rupees a passenger has to pay for traveling by the shortest route from A to J? Okay, now we have to find out the shortest route from A to J. So first what we'll do is we'll list down all the routes from A to J. If you see, we have ABJ, ADJ, AFJ, AGJ, AHJ, ABHJ. These all are the routes from A to J. If we find out, we have listed it down. Corresponding distance and corresponding price we can find out. Now it is asking what is the lowest distance or the least distance from A to J. Now you need to check in this distance column what is the lowest. Lowest is 2170. So he will follow this ACFJ. That is the route it will follow, and the distance it will cover is 2170. So 2170, and how much price he has to pay? 2930. So 2930. So 2930 means D. We can go ahead and mark option number D. Everybody clear with this, or this table won't take much time actually to draw. If you see, this table you won't take much time to draw, and you need not to actually do it. Actually, for solving I have done it like this. I've done like this, but in reality you need not to do all these things. Some of them you can chalk it out themselves, like 3200 or 3075. These distance you need not to even put in the table. You just find out the table where the distances, the lower distances you can actually put in. So you need not to put in the table, so it won't take much time actually. So just to show you all the possible cases I have made like this, but in examination you need not to put all these things. You can actually put some of the table, some of them which are, if 2170 is there, so 2900 you can ignore, 3120, so bigger one you can easily ignore yourselves. Okay, ACFJ. Well, this is 2930. Okay. Now, next question, what it is asking. The company plans to introduce a direct flight between A to J. The market research indicate that all of its existing passengers traveling between A and J will use direct flight if it is priced 5% below the minimum price that they pay at present. So what you have to find out is the minimum price that they actually pay at present. So what is the minimum price that you have here? Minimum price is when you go through AHG. AHG. This is, so you go through AHG. So 2275 is the minimum price. So what it is saying, 5% less, so 0.95. What it will be? It will be 2161.25. So option B. Go ahead and mark option B, 2161. Everybody clear with this? Anybody has a problem? Once the table is made, first two questions, okay, it is saying existing passengers traveling between A and J will use the direct flight if it is 5% below the minimum price that they pay at present. So it should be 5% below. So 0.95 will multiply with the existing price. Existing minimum price is 2275. Existing minimum price is 2275. So 5% less, so into 0.95. So 2161. We have 2161. Okay. Now question number 3. Question number 3. Okay, question number 3, it is saying airports CDH are closed down due to security reason. What would be the minimum price in rupees to be paid by the passenger from A to J? Okay, so CDH are closed. So just remove where you have CDH. Just remove those. So if CDH are closed, so you can remove this, you can remove this, wherever CDH are there. In fact, everything, all of this, this, this. Okay, now it is asking the minimum price. Minimum price will be what? This one. We have 2315. So 2315 is the minimum price from, okay, sorry, 2315 is the distance. So minimum price is, this is distance, and minimum price for this CAFJ is 2850. So 2850. So 2850, option C. We'll go ahead and mark option C here. So 2850. Okay. If the prices, everybody clear till now? Okay. If the prices include a margin of 10% over the total cost that the company incurs, what is the minimum cost per kilometer company incurs from for flying A to J? Okay. So minimum cost per kilometer it is asking. So minimum cost per kilometer. So minimum cost per kilometer it is asking. So you have to find first minimum cost. Minimum cost we have already found out. What was the minimum cost? Minimum cost was for AHJ, for the route AHJ was the minimum cost. AHJ, the minimum cost was 2275. So you want to find out minimum price per kilometer. So 2275 upon 2350. 2350. So it comes out to be 0.97. Okay, so minimum cost per kilometer is what? 0.97 here. Now it is saying that this actually includes 10%. 10%, what it is? It includes 10% total, more than the total cost. So 10% more than the total cost. So it is actually 1.1 times. So the actual cost will be 0.97 upon 1.1, which will be 0.88. So we have option B, 0.88. Now the question is, price includes a margin of 10% over the total cost the company incurs. What is the minimum cost per kilometer that company incurs in flying from A to J? So it is 0.97 upon 10% it includes, so it's 1.1, we have to divide it 0.88. Okay, everybody clear? Okay. See, the question is, if the prices include a margin of 10% over the total cost that company incurs. And what it is asking, minimum cost that the company incurs. So 10% has been included there. So that 10% needs to be divided. That is why we divided by 1.1. Got it, everybody, or still you have a confusion why divide by 1.1? Because see, if the prices include a margin of 10% over the total cost that the company incurs, and what we have to find out, the minimum cost per kilometer that the company incurs. So that 10% has been included in the total cost, so that needs to be divided in order to find out the exact cost that the company incurs from A to G. Okay. Now let's see the question what it is. If the prices include a margin, next question, question number 5. If the prices include a margin of 15% over the total cost that the company incurs, which among the following is the distance to be covered in flying from A to J that minimizes the total cost per kilometer of the company? See, if company includes 15% margin or 10% margin or 4% margin or 20% margin, will it make a difference? Will it make a difference of total cost per kilometer? It minimum cost per kilometer would correspond to the same route. AHG will be the only route, whether it is a 15% margin or whether it is a 10% margin or whether it is a 5% margin. It won't make a difference because the lowest cost is for AHG. So even if margin changes, the lowest cost will in fact lowest cost per kilometer will in fact be for AHG only. So we'll go ahead and mark 2350. 2350 is the distance traveled for AHG, because the route won't change. Even if the margin changes, the route won't change. Route will be AHG only. Everybody clear with this? See, now it is saying the margin has changed to 15%. See, now before in question number 4, it was saying the margin was 10%. Now question number 5, it is saying the margin has 15% is the margin. So what is the minimum price per kilometer? Price per kilometer. Okay, price per kilometer will be same, will depend upon the lowest price route. So lowest price route is what? AHG. So this margin won't make a difference on the lowest price route, because lowest price route will be this only, AHG only, and AHG the distance traveled is 2350. So 2350 is the distance traveled. So we have to mark option number D, 2350. See, margin means what? Some people are asking what is margin. See, company says the price is 100, but in this 100 actually the cost is 10 and cost is 90, and 10 is what is the profit margin that the company has put in. Okay, so this is margin. Now if the cost is 100 and 85, so 15 is the profit margin. So this means the profit margin. So that won't make a difference in this case, because the lowest route will remain the lowest route. Even if the margin increases, decreases, whatever it is, it will be the lowest, because it's a numerator. So you divide it by anything, If it is the lowest, the value will be the lowest. Okay, got it everybody? Or still I have to make it a little more clearer? Yes, it depends. See, price per kilometer depends upon both the things, the distance and the price, obviously. But if you see in this table, AHG will be the route with the lowest price per kilometer. If you go through the route itself, see these all routes. If you see all these routes, they will be always more than one. They are all more than one. The lowest is this one. So that is why I have taken the route AHG. See, margin means profit margin. It does not mean loss margin. Okay. Got it everybody? Still anybody has a problem with this? See, in question number 4, 1.1, how it is coming is, see, you have used, see, 294, see, suppose, say for ABJ, the route ABJ, the price it is 2945, but 2945 is not the actual price. It includes a margin of 10% for the company, 10% for company. So its actual price will be what? 2945 upon 1.1. So that is why we are doing 1.1 divided by 1.1. Got it everybody? It's the same thing, cost price and selling price. See, the selling price is 2945. Cost price is less than that. It contains 10% profit margin. Okay guys, everybody? Okay. Let us move on. Okay, question number 6 to 10. Okay, I'll go to question number 6 to 10 later. Let's go to question number 11 to 14. Question number 11 to 14. Take 5-7 minutes. 10:30 will again see these questions. Try to get a feel of this question. Then we'll solve this question. Just read through whole questions along with the. Just read through this question and go through all the questions that have been asked after this illustration. question has been sent to Mindworks team, admin team in the evening itself. So I think everybody might have received this. Those who have not received this, you need to contact Mindworks team. Or for the time being, you can see the question sheet on my screen. Pratap, Abhinav, all of you, most of the people have received this question sheet. So guys, solve these questions and put your answers in the chat window so that I can see that you're solving these questions. Okay. Okay, let me solve this question. Most of you are not getting it right. So let me solve this question. So there are 8 companies C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, and C8 in the market that manufacture furniture. The furniture manufactured by these companies is sold in one or more than one of the 5 regions, namely R1, R2, R3, R4 and R5. 2 companies are said to be competitors if there is at least one region where both the companies sell their furniture. The following bar graph provides the information about the number of competitors 7 out of these 8 companies have. Assume that there are only 8 companies that they sell furniture in the mentioned region. Okay. So this is what the number of competitors for each of the companies. So C5, it is showing that it has 7 competitors. C5 has 7 competitors, that means everybody is a competitor for C5. C1 only one competitor. That means what? That means C1's only competitor is C5. Got it, everybody? See, C5 there are 7 competitors. That means C5 okay. C5 for C5 we have 7 competitors. That means what? That means if C5 has 7 competitors, that means C5 has all these competitors: C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7 and C8. All 7 are the competitors. Got it, everybody? Okay. Now C1 has one competitor. That means C1 is C5. C1's competitor is C5. Okay. Now similarly, if we see C2 will have competitor what? C5, C3 and C8. C2 will have competitors. C2 has 3 competitors. So C5 will be a competitor of all. So other than that, it can have what? C3 and C8. Why? Because C8 is competitor of 6 regions. So it has to be competitor of every other region. At least 6 region it has to be. So, and it is not competitor of C1. So obviously it has to be competitor of C2. So C8 will be here. Similarly, you can see by C3. C3 is 6 competitors. They have 6 competitors. So, and it is not competitor of C1. So it has to be competitor of C2. Okay. Now similarly you can write for others as well. For C3 also you can write what all are the competitors. For C4 you can write C5, C3 and C8 are the competitors, and there are 2 more competitors. You don't know means which are the competitors you can write. Okay. See, C5 is competitor of everybody. Okay. So C5 is competitor of everybody. So C5 you write all the competitors. Okay. All are the competitor for C5. Now you have written for this. Now C8, who is the competitor for C8? C1 is not a competitor because C1 has only one competitor, so C5 it will be the competitor. So C8 will have what all competitors? C2, C3, C4, C5, C6 and C7. So these are the 6 competitors it will have. Okay. Now if C2 is a competitor here, so in C2 you write C8. Got it, everybody? Similarly for C3, who all will be the competitor? C1 is not a competitor for them. C1 is not a competitor for them. So who all are left? C2, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8. So all 6 are left. So you write all 6. So C3 is a competitor for C2. So you write C3 here. So for C2 you have 3 competitors. So you have C5, C3 and C8 who are the competitors for C2. Got it, everybody? Similarly, you can write it for others as well. For C5 obviously all 7 are computers. C6 you have computers C5, C3, C8 and C4. C7 you have C5, C3 and C8 because 3 computers are there. So you can write all these computers. Now when this has been written, we have know what is the first question that is asked. First question that has been asked is how many computers does C6 have? So C6 have how many computers? C6 has 4 computers. So we'll go ahead and mark option B, 4 computers. Okay. Now question number 12. What it asks is the number of companies selling furniture in one region is at most. Okay. So now the question is the region in which the maximum possible number of competitors sell the furniture. Now the question it is asking the number of companies selling furniture in one region is at most how much? Okay. Now consider C4. Out of the competitors it has 3 are C5, C3 and C8. Okay. C5, C3 and C8. One will be here. One will be here. Okay. One computer will be here. C4. Okay. Now the question is the region which has maximum possible number of computers sell furniture will be one which has C4 or C6, because see, if it is C1, C2 or C7, the maximum possible furniture could be 4. The computer could be 4. If C1, C2 or C7 is to be included, then the maximum possible can only be 4. Okay. So the region which has, see, let me explain it through this also. If region has C1, C2 or C7, okay, the maximum possible computer can be only 4. If you see the computers, if you see the computers, it can be maximum 4 computers. Okay. So the region, if in order to have the maximum computers, will have C4 and C6. What else could be? C1, C3 and C5. So the maximum it can have is 5 computers. Maximum it can have is 5 computers. So we'll go ahead and mark option number E, 5 computers. Got it everybody? No. Okay. See, it is asked, the question what has been asked is the number of companies selling furniture in one region is at most what? Okay. If see, one region we consider in which C1, C2 or C7 is there. So the maximum number of companies that can be in that region would be what? 4. It can't be more than 4. See, because for C1 the computer is C5, C2, C5, C3 and C8, C7, C5, C3 and C8. So the maximum could be what? 4. Maximum could be what? 4. 2. Okay. So the maximum companies in that region can be 4. So we will not include C1, C2 and C7. So the A region which could have possibly C4, C5, C6, C3 and C8 will be the region with the maximum companies selling furniture. So it will be C3, C5, C3, C4, C5, C6 and C8. Got it, or still has a problem with this? People got it, this question? Okay, see, let me explain once again. If we consider a region, if we consider a region which has C1 as a company, or C3 as a company, or C7 as a company, okay? If we consider a region in which C1, C2 or C7 are a company, so C1 will have what? One competitor, C2 will have three competitors, so C7 will have three competitors. So the maximum you can have is what? You can have only four companies. See, if you consider C2 and C7, so C2 and C7, if you C1, first let me consider one thing. See, suppose, sure, let me do it from the basic so that you would be able to understand this much better. Okay, see, we have given all these. Now consider C1 as one company. So the other company in that region can only be what? C5, because only this will satisfy. Only this will satisfy. Now suppose we have C2 and C7, because C2 and C7 will have the same competitors. Okay, C2 and C7 have all the same competitors. So if you consider C2 and C7, you can have which all companies? You can have this. Sorry, let me change the pen color. Okay, you can have this, you can have this, or you can have this. Okay, so the maximum you can have is four companies. Okay, the maximum you can have is four companies, because C2 or C7 will have only three competitors, so the total companies that can be in that region is 3 plus 1, this company, so 4 company. So we should avoid C2 and C7 in the region. If we are avoiding C2 and C7 and C1 already we have avoided, so what is left is C3, C4, C5, C6 and C8. Got it, everybody? Okay. See, we are including see, we are excluding C1. Everybody got that? C2 and C7 we are excluding because the number of competitors they have is 3 only. If you are including those 3 competitors, the maximum you can have are 4 companies. But here we have to find out a region which is at most how much companies can it have. So at most it will have what? Exclude C1, C2 and C7. So 5 companies are left. So we have option E, 5. We'll go ahead and mark that option. Okay, moving on to question number 13. So question number 13, it is saying that each region is given as many points as many points as the number of companies who sold furniture in it. There is exactly one region where no company sold the furniture. Then the aggregate number of points given to all the region is what? Okay. Let us put a table for this. Okay. Now there is one region R1. So R1 has what? C1 and C5. There is a region R2 which is C5, C7, C3 and C8. Okay. Then we have a region as R3. So which has C5, C2, C3 and C8. Then there is a region called R4 which has none. Then there is a region R5 which has C4, C5, C6, C3 and C8. Okay. We can make the region like this. Now it is asking each region has been given as many points as the number of companies who sold in the furniture in it. Exactly one region is where no company sold the furniture. So R5, no company sold furniture. So it is saying for each region a point has been given. So for each region, for region 1 we have 2 points, 4 points, 4 points, 0 points, 5 points. Total is what? 15. Okay. Now how we are getting this region? See. Now in order to make this region, you can have a minimum of, you're saying one is with 0 competitors. Okay. One is 0 competitors. We have put one region as 0 competitors. Okay. So rest all needs to be included in that. So one region will have 2 competitors because C1, if it is to be included into a region, C5 will be there. So 2 competitors need to be there. So R1 is done. One region is with the 5 competitors. So one region is with the 5 competitors that we have done in the question number 12. Question number 12. So this is our region with 5 competitors. Okay. Now we are left with 2 regions, R2 and R3 say. Okay, R2 and R3. So these regions can have what? These regions can have what? These regions can have these 4 companies each. These regions will have what? 4 companies each in order to make this complete list of the furniture. See, how you can say this is Assume. Now let me assume. Okay. Assume C1 sells in region R1. Okay. Assume C1 sells in region R1. So the other company who sells in region R1 has to be C5. So one region is fixed. Okay. Now C7 has 3 competitors. Okay. Therefore the number of companies selling, then therefore number of companies selling in that region, say R2, will be what? The number of companies selling in that region will be 4. Okay. C7, if C7 is, the competitor is 3, so say maximum it can have 4. Okay. So R2, what all can be possible? C5, C7, C3 and C8. Okay. Now the same thing holds true for C2 as well. Suppose there is a region R3 which has C2 in it. R3 has C2 in it. So other than C2, what all you can have is C3, C5 and C8 and C8. And then we have R4 which has 0. Then we have R5 with all those 5, C3, C5, C6, C7 and C8. Got it everybody, or let me explain once again. See, suppose C1 is selling in region R1. Okay, if C1 is selling in region R1, the other who can sell in region R1 is C5. Okay, so this is one region that has been defined. Region R4 is 0. Okay, we have defined that 0. These two are defined. Got it everybody? Now let me go to a region R2. In R2, C7 is selling. If C7 is selling, then 3 more will sell. Who will be the 3 one? C3, C5 and C8. So C3, C5 and C8 will be in region R2. So region R2, 4 members will be there. Similarly, for region R3, if C2 is there, who else will be there? C3, C5 and C8. So it will be the region R3. R5, we have already found out we will have 5 competitors. So we have given the same thing. So the numbers we have given for R1, we have given 2, R2 4, R3 4, R4 0, R5 5, total will be 15. Suyesh, there can't be a region with all 8. There can't be a region with all 8 companies. That is not possible. See, what has been written? See, read the question once again. The furniture manufactured by these companies are sold in one or more region. One or more of the 5 regions R1, R2, R3, R4. 2 companies are said to be competitors if there is at least one region where both the companies sell their furniture. Okay? If there is at least one region where both the companies sell their furniture. The following bar graph provides the competitors of 7 of the 8 companies that have. Okay. Now question number 13, it is saying that each region is given as many points as the number of companies who sold furniture in it. Okay. If there is exactly one region where no company sold the furniture, so we have assumed that region to be R4, where no company sold the furniture. Okay, is 0. Now then the aggregate number of points given to all the region is what? Okay. Now suppose there is a region R1. In R1 C1 is selling. If C1 is selling, C5 will sell there. Okay. C5 needs to sell there. So this region is fixed. Okay. Similarly in R2, everybody is clear with R1 and R4. Then I'll explain others. Or still anybody has a problem with R1 and R4? Okay, R1 and R4, everybody clear. Now moving on to R2. See, suppose in region R2 C7 sells. Okay. Ritvik, we can take R2 as also 0, is not a problem. You are raising a very stupid issue. So R2 we can have if suppose R2 C7 is selling. If C7 is selling, so it has 3 competitors, so C5, C3 and C8 has to sell in that region. Okay. So R2 will have what? C5, C7, C3 and C8. Okay. R3, C2 is selling. So similar what we had for C7, same is for C2 also. If C2 is selling in R3, so our C5, C3 and C8 has to sell in R3. Okay. So these 4 are selling in R3. R4 obviously none, 0 is selling. R5, now R5 we have what is left? C4, C5, C6, C3 and C8. If C6 is selling or C4 is selling in this region, so other 3 has to sell in this region. So R5, C4, C5, C6, C3 and C8 are selling in this region. So 5 companies are selling in this region. So we have given them number as 2, 4, 4, 2 companies, 2, 4 here, 4 here, 5 here. So we have a total of 15. Got it everybody, or still has a problem with this question? Okay, I believe everybody got this. So we have 15. So option A will go ahead and mark option A. Now the number of regions in which C1 sold a furniture is at most what? Is at most what? See, we got in the last question we saw that C1 sold in region R1. Okay. C1 sold in region R1. R4 none of them sold. If suppose in R4 in C1 sold in this C1 sold here. So one region is here. Here it was none. But here suppose C1 and C5 were again there. It was not none. So this is also 1. So C1 can at most sell in what? 2 regions. It can sell in 2 regions. So we have option 2. Yes, we have option C as 2. So we'll go ahead and mark option 2. Because here there is no condition. Here there is no condition that one region has to be 0 sellers, 0 companies. So if that is not the case, we'll utilize that region to give C1 as the maximum value. So in R4 region, C1 will have maximum region. Got it, everybody? Okay. See, we have the same conditions. R1 are same conditions, but see if R4, in R4 there is not a condition that none of the companies has to be there. There is a condition. There is a condition that R4 R4 see C1 and C5 if they are in region 1, so they can be in region R4 also if there is no condition that was applied in question number 13 that there should be a region without any seller. But if that condition is not there in R4, we can have C1 C5 again. It is not mandated that in two regions the same companies cannot be there. Okay, so it will be option C, 2. It can have a maximum of 2. Got it, everybody? Or still has a problem? Okay, great. My effort has been rewarded. If all of you have got these two sets. Okay. So the thing is, question number 6 to 10, I don't think this is a big question or this is a tough question that needs to be solved by. See, there's a very simple, there's a pie chart where it has been given that the ages of the people, and then there's a percentage distribution by doctors. Those simple questions, it will be asked how many men surveyed were above age of 35. So you just have to calculate from here and give the answers here. So you can do it yourselves. It's not a tough set actually. So it won't take 3-4 minutes of your time. So you do it yourself. So I will stop my class today. So hopefully you have enjoyed both the sets. So it still has a problem, raise it right now. Still you have a problem with those two sets. This set you can do it anyways. It's a sitter. It won't take even half a minute of your time for each question. Okay. Okay guys. So these all questions and everything you will get it with solutions. You will get it. So by tomorrow you'll get it and it will be uploaded by tomorrow. So okay guys, good night everybody. If still has a problem, then you can. Question number 6 to 10, don't worry about the answers and everything. Everything will be provided by the end of the class, or by tomorrow you'll receive all the answers to all the questions that I had discussed and that I have not discussed in this class. So all the questions with complete explanation you'll get it. So no need to worry. Okay guys, good night. keep doing questions. Thank you.